Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to Live with Leslie. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm a business strategist and mentor. And I am multitasking over here to try to go live over on Instagram. Okay, we are live on Insta. So again, welcome everybody. Leslie Bytel here, business strategist and mentor specifically for functional nutrition and functional medicine practitioners. And I'm really just so delighted to have you here with me today. So as you probably are very well aware, we are in the thick of the holiday season. Whew, it is all of a sudden that time, which for many of us, honestly, can be quite stressful, right? Kind of depending on what you have going on in your life. So many things on the to-do list. All of a sudden, it's like crunch time, right? And it really can be challenging to maintain healthy habits, even for those that teach the stuff for a living, right? So for those of you that can, feel like you could really benefit from some simple strategies to help you to avoid burnout, help you keep stress in check, and support your body during the holidays. And I also want to add yourself, your families, and your clients. So we're going to share some really cool strategies today. So I think you're in for a treat. So I want to welcome, today we'll be chatting with Dr. Sarah Jeffrey, ND, and Dr. Luciana Silva, ND, both from Aya Naturopathic Medicine. And they'll be talking on how you can maintain good, healthy habits throughout this holiday season. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
So excited.
Yes, thank you, Leslie.
Yay. I love getting the naturopathic viewpoint. I so admire your training. And I know you guys, yeah. So why don't we kick things off? I would love to hear, because I know each of you has a different area of specialization under one roof, and you are practicing in the New England area. So I'd love to just kind of hear your backstory, right? For each of you. I always find that so interesting, just how this evolved into where you are today.
All right, I'll kick us off. So for me, this is a second career. So I graduated in 2009 from my undergrad, which was that horrible recession. Nobody was hiring. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I kind of knew holistic health was going to be my jam. So I signed up for a health coaching program online. Actually happened to be a scam. And so I took that as a sign like, okay, not meant to be. And I took the only job I could get, which was grant writing for a community hospital. And one thing led to another. And I actually stayed in hospital administration for 8 years, got my MBA in healthcare administration, and really, really loved what I did. But that, if I could do it all over, it would be holistic health, just kept haunting me.
Okay.
And I got great advice from my chiropractor, actually. I was like, I would go be a naturopathic doctor, but then I'd be like 40 by the time I finished. And he's like, well, you're going to be 40 anyway. So do you want to be 40 and not liking what you do? I'm like, all right, touche. And I enrolled.
Oh my gosh. I love, that is the best.
Yeah.
That is the best advice. Yeah. Like X number of years is going to go by regardless. So how do you want to feel when you got there? Fabulous advice. So you did it.
I did it, and I have never looked back. There was not one moment, even when we were in the thick of finals or, medical school's intense, where I was like, I really wish I was doing my spreadsheets. And not to knock the spreadsheets. I loved them at the time. But
people love them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you knew your calling was to help people in this space.
Exactly.
Fabulous. Great story. So Luciana, what was your backstory?
For me, it's not a second career, thankfully. So I'm originally from Peru, which is where I am right now. Actually, I'm visiting my family. But yeah, so I was always really into alternative medicine and nutrition, but I couldn't really find something that I was super passionate about here in Peru. I went into medical school right straight from out of high school, and I was like, well, this isn't for me.
You went to traditional medical school.
Yes.
Oh,
I only
I did not know about you.
I only did that for about a year, and then I realized that that was just gonna be a nightmare if I had to stay there for another 6 years. So, I basically started to, like, look around for options. My brother was thankfully moving to the States. We were
Mhm.
both, my father's from America, so we were able to, like, make the transition easily. But I
Mhm.
realized that I had to study, like, for a bachelor's before I could do naturopathic medicine, which is what I found. And so I did a bachelor's in, health education, which was, like, more like a public health
Mhm.
sphere, like, more broad, and I still felt like something was missing, so I just kind of felt like the individual level, like, patient practitioner component was missing.
Mhm.
So I then enrolled at Bastyr University for naturopathic medicine, and I have never been more happy.
Oh, that's such a great story. Wow. So you
Yeah,
were about to go down the traditional path, which is fabulous, but
yeah,
clearly that was not your true calling.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
and yeah, I mean,
I
that
would
has been the best decision.
I'm so happy for both of you. Could either of you or both kind of chime in? The one thing I want to talk about kind of off the cuff a little bit is tell us what naturopathic medical school is like. You know what
Oh
I'm
man.
saying? Like,
I think that's a great question, Leslie, and it
yes.
really segues off of our
Uh-huh.
um, both of us kind of finding this by passion because medical school was a slog. Even though we were learning such interesting things, at one point I think we were enrolled in 13 classes because to be a naturopathic doctor, you have to learn everything that a medical doctor learns in those 4 years because in some states we take insurance and are recognized as primary care providers. So we
Mm,
have to learn all of that. But then in addition, we get the privilege of learning homeopathy, counseling, nutrition, botanical medicine, chiropractics. I'm
wow.
probably missing a couple. So it was intense. And I think
Mhm,
what drew me and Luciana together was the fact that both of us had tried other things and knew
mm,
this was it for us. And
mm.
so we weren't questioning like why we were there. And that made us great study partners from the very first year.
Okay, so you both met
Yeah,
right out of the gate
right
and
at the beginning.
supported one another. And is the naturopathic medical school, is that a 4-year program then?
It is, yeah, it's a 4-year program. Some people
Mm,
do it in 5 years, 6
okay,
years, I mean, it just
wow.
depends, but, it's meant to be 4 years, and so, I mean, some people work throughout that time, like, get
Mhm.
work-study jobs and stuff because it's also, like, an expensive, career, but most people just go to school, and like Sarah said, it was a lot of work. It wasn't a walk in the park, for sure.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. You have to learn everything traditional medical doctor, or I'm thinking like a doctor of osteopathy. Oh,
Yeah,
there's probably a lot of
definitely.
overlap. And then all the homeopathy, like you said, in the natural medicine arena. And I did not
Yeah,
know about like the hands-on that there's overlap with chiropractic.
Yeah.
yes.
Super interesting. Okay. Wow. So that is a lot.
Can I
Uh,
chime in one more thing, Leslie? I'm so
yeah,
sorry. The
yeah.
other big part of our education is philosophy of medicine, because at
Mm,
its core, there are medical doctors and osteopathic doctors who practice holistically, but it's a
okay.
difference in philosophy of medicine. And so we
Mm,
have a belief that the body is self healing and that the body
Okay.
wants to be well, and that if we support the body's systems and put right lifestyle into place, that the system will kind of self correct with gentle nudges. And we
Okay.
have something called a therapeutic order where we start with the least invasive and work our way up. And
Okay.
so I think the way we think about cases is, on the one hand, similar to our traditional medical colleagues because we've had a lot of the same training, but it's also quite different.
Mhm. Oh, I love
yeah.
that. So,
We're definitely able to use the more, like, higher, more invasive treatments and
mhm,
therapies, and we're trained to do those, like, of course, not like surgery,
yeah.
although we do get trained in, like, minor surgery,
Mhm.
but, yeah, like, we mostly choose not to unless, like, the patient and their circumstances call for it, and
Okay.
then we will do it.
So like your treatment progression is maybe different philosophically. You start with the least invasive and work your way up is what I'm taking away. Is that right?
Yeah.
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 Super cool. I love that. Okay. Really, really love that. The whole concept. And I would imagine many people here, would find that interesting. So let's see, we have a comment on Instagram from someone who got that same advice in my 40s. I'm very happy that I did. 40 years later, I'm so excited about functional medicine. As an RDN, I find nutrition is ever changing and fascinating. Yeah, I can relate to that. Totally different situation, but kind of similar in terms of advice that I had one time. It was around that same time, 2009-ish, when the whole market that I
I
felt like
think it
the
threw
world was
everything.
falling apart. Yeah, and that's when I got started an MBA. And the reason, like, people kind of thought I was a little crazy because I didn't have funding for it. I wasn't working for another company that was going to pay for it. I paid for it. But the thing that it was very similar to what you described, Sarah, in that I went to like this this little like preview for the school. And the guy on the stage, I remember it so clearly. It's exactly what he said. He was like, okay, I know things are crazy. The economy's, it feels like it's completely falling apart. But here's the thing. 2 years, it took me 4, but in his example, 2 years is going to go by no matter what. So put yourself forward and ask how you're going to feel in 2 years if you're still thinking about it. Oh my gosh. Once he said that, I was like, okay, done. I cannot, like, if I am still thinking about this in 2 years, I just can't, because I'd been thinking about it for like probably 15 years. So it was definitely time. All right.
It's funny how those things kind of haunt you. For me, it was like, well, I would have been a naturopathic doctor. Like, it didn't come up all the time, but at least every 6 months.
Okay. And the good news is that you listened.
Eventually.
Right? Eventually. Yeah. I think that's great. Okay. All right. Well, let's dig into our topic. So, ladies, why is it so important to pay attention to our health during the holiday season? What are your thoughts around that? Why do we struggle and why is it just so critical?
Leslie, I think we struggle because the holidays are all about the people we love. And so we want to give everyone the best of everything. So we're in our holiday planning season here, and I'm like planning more cookie varieties than I want to confess. And we did a giant tree trimming, and like we just want the holidays to be really special for everyone. And that expression of love means that you take on more and more and more. And then add to that the indulgent food, the irregular schedules, maybe the stress, depending on family dynamics. And it's a real big recipe for burnout. And so if we ignore our health in those moments, we set ourselves up for burnout, fatigue, and even like some digestive symptoms like stomach upset and stuff like that. And so it's really important to kind of prioritize well-being, but still have a little grace and not expect it to look like it normally does during the holiday season.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have a little grace. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Luciana?
Yeah. Then from like, I was going to say from like the hormonal perspective, I feel like we're creatures of habit, right? Like we have like the moon cycle, we have our like menstrual cycle as a female, like testosterone cycle as a male. Like consistency is key for balancing, right? So during this time, usually we have like, because of like the things that Sarah said, like poor sleep, high sugar intake, and then like stress on top of that can wreak havoc on our like hormonal health and like also adrenal health and everything. So leading to things like mood swings, fatigue, even like things like weight gain. So that's kind of like why we're here. We want to kind of show people like you guys simple, effective ways to stay balanced, even in this like unbalanced time.
I love that. Yeah. And specifically most likely the audience joining us for this conversation are practitioners themselves, right? So do you feel like that's different? We're at the end of the day, we're all human and we all want to have these experiences. So any comment on that?
I think it almost makes it harder, at least for me, and I'm sure everyone has their own experience. But for me, then there's this like existential guilt, like I'm telling people to do something else, but I'm taking on too much and not following my boundaries. I'm telling people they should do a regular sleep schedule, but I'm blowing past that bedtime. Um, sometimes ignorance is bliss. So I think as a practitioner, there is kind of that, at least for me, that like cognitive dissonance when the
Yeah,
holidays
Yeah,
get you.
same for
completely. Like,
Luciana.
yeah, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I'm here with my family, so I'm trying to be like, okay, we're opening our own practice, but in the same at the same time, it's the holidays, and I want to spend time with them, and so I end up like going really late and eating poorly, and and then I think about like, oh, tomorrow I have to do a talk about like less stress in during the holidays.
Yeah,
Yep.
this talk has been such a
Like,
blessing because we actually have decided we're going to figure out what activities to do before the end of the year, and then we're actually going to take a week off
Oh, I love that.
because this talk and prepping for it was like, okay, we need to practice what we preach a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy, but you'll feel better
Mhm.
if you do. If
yes.
you follow your own advice, which isn't always easy to do. So what would you say some common challenges are that people face in maintaining these, healthy habits, especially this time of year?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest challenge, and for me personally and for my patients, the biggest challenge is overcommitting and overscheduling.
Mhm.
I had an advisor, this has been a lifelong problem for me, I'll just confess. So I had an advisor in undergraduate who told me I had buffet mentality, which is I'd go through life wandering down the buffet and say, mac and cheese looks good, like chocolate cake good, lobster good. And you put it all on your plate, not thinking about the combination, and then you get indigestion.
Oh,
So that happens in the holidays. Like, sure, I want to make 1,000 cookies and send them to all my relatives. Sure, I want to wrap all of the presents and look up on Instagram how to do it with a little pouch to tuck the cards in.
oh,
And yes,
that
I also want to
person.
go. Yeah. So you just say, yep, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good without seeing,
Okay.
like, does it fit on the calendar? Do I have the headspace for it? All of that.
Oh my goodness. I think that could be called overachiever. I don't know.
I've
It
been
I
could.
called that
mean,
before,
May
but
well.
buffet
yeah,
mentality for
I'm
sure.
thinking like, yeah, maybe it's buffet style. That's an interesting thing, but overachiever is coming up for me. So I can just tell you that I do not. Yeah, I don't tend to look up on Instagram like how I can make special bows or yeah, like it's just funny, like that just would not occur to me at all.
Yeah. That's the type of people who go to med school or all of these overachievers. I really found like I found my people there.
Okay.
Because my whole life, my brothers teased me. They said, "Oh, you're not type A, you're type A plus."
Ah!
So I'm like, all right, fine.
Oh
But
my
then I
god.
met Luciana, who's my same kind of person.
Same.
Yeah.
Your
I
twin.
mean, yeah, for me, it's like in different ways. Like I will go above and beyond to make like the best like Christmas cake or something like dessert, and like I will make sure that it's perfect because that's like what I like to do. But yeah, like talking about that, like my major challenge is like around this time is like, well, we had Thanksgiving and like that was filled with like really rich foods and amazingly tasty and just like I mean, they have all the fun ingredients, right? Like sugary and
Yeah.
like fatty. I mean, all the things.
All the yummy
And
stuff.
that, I mean, all the yummy stuff. And then like, I mean, it's also most and like most places in the US, it's like it can be cold. Some people are just like layering. It's like hard to go outside and go for walks. It's like
Yeah.
also like it's just like hard to keep your like blood sugar levels and hormone
Mm.
balance the way I was talking about before. And then like on top of that, you add the pressure of like doing it all, being there for everything, like going to see your family and all these things that like it's just like the best recipe to feel overwhelmed. Yeah.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Okay, off the cuff question, but Luciana, what kind of foods do like what is a traditional I guess Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve dinner?
Yeah. So it's I mean, if
In
you ask
Peru, you might
anybody here,
for those of us that or those of you that just joined, Dr. Luciana is from Peru.
yes. So if you ask anybody here in Peru, they will tell you it's kind of more like a pork dinner, like something like that.
Okay.
But because I'm like my family's half American, half Peruvian, we are used to making like the whole like Thanksgiving dinner
Okay.
over Christmas because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Peru. So
Mm.
we have like turkey. I mean, yeah, and people will also have turkey here and during Christmas actually. It's a big thing. Like
Mhm.
people it's become a bigger thing. I feel like it's we kind of get traditions from the US and then
Mhm.
we make them our own. But
Yeah.
yeah, we will make the whole like turkey and we don't have cranberries here, so that's sad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we make like the applesauce and the mashed potatoes
Yeah.
and
Kind of a little
actually
more
something that
like
yeah, something that we don't really make is the stuffing. We don't really stuff
oh,
our our turkeys. So that was something I found later in life in the US. Yeah.
oh, interesting. Yeah, the best part, right? What about sweet potatoes? You guys probably do that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sweet
Wow.
potatoes we do. We have a ton of those. Yeah.
Yeah, that I love that. Okay, so we got lots of challenges that people grapple with. Um, so Dr. Silva, how do holiday habits, let's talk a little bit about hormones and what can people do to support hormone health specifically since that is your area of expertise in your practice. So what can we do
Yeah,
to keep our hormones balanced?
totally. So, I know we're talking mostly to other practitioners and most of you probably know this, but like stress and sugar are just like the main one of two of the major culprits, right? Like behind hormonal ups and downs in many people.
Mhm.
And this is not only during the holidays, but just like throughout life.
Right.
But yeah, like when you're stressed, as you know, our bodies produce this hormone cortisol. And then if it's like produced an end without like an opportunity to go down and reset, then
Mm,
it can
mhm.
disrupt the balance of our other hormones like progesterone and estrogens. And like progesterone is like very well known to like help us with like anxiety and just like keep our bodies like more calm. So and then like when we do this, like when this happens and then also we indulge in sugary treats, this can cause kind of like the insulin spikes, which and crashes in our blood sugar,
Yeah.
that then leaves us like feeling tired, moody, and then we're like more likely to react to our like loved ones or just like anything that happens. It can like easily throw us. So just like something that I recommend any all of my patients, but just like focusing on eating balanced meals, like including even at this time of stress, just like including protein, like chicken, fish, beans, and healthy fats like
Mhm.
avocado, nuts, olive oil. Like just also like stay hydrated. Make sure
Mhm.
like because that's also like the day goes by and you haven't drank any water and it's like, oh, I have to do so
Oh,
many
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Super
just
challenging. And, yeah, and then there's alcohol,
yeah,
which
just
yeah.
that dehydrates you more. And then like also like sugary drinks that like you think you're drinking, but then like or sweetened coffee and like it's also not like the best hydration for
Right.
everybody. So yeah, just like keeping those things in mind can help us, right? Like stay in track.
I love those. Those are some good tips. Yeah, that whole blood sugar thing is can be very challenging,
Yeah.
especially this time of year with all the goodies laying around and, you gotta test your cookies, right? Make
I
sure
know.
they're good enough and edible, right?
I think it's like
Yeah. The
absolutely
ginger cookies.
impossible to make cookies and not taste them. Like,
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how people do that. I'd love to hear from our audience. Like, do you have to taste the cookies? Or is it even possible to make cookies without testing them?
I don't
I
want to
don't
be
know.
that cookie baker, I have to say.
Me neither.
So,
I would be very sad.
I know, right? Like, that would be no fun. You gotta live a
mhm.
little, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Okay, so let's talk to Dr. Jeffrey about your thoughts. Tell us a little bit about your area of specialization. So we talked to Luciana a little bit about, her being, really specializing more in the hormonal health area. So tell us about your area of expertise and how holiday stress, like kind of from that lens,
Yeah,
right?
perfect. So we got so excited about our backstories that we forgot to tell you that we are a
Really
specialty
likes that too,
practice.
right? I'm so
um,
fascinated.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was really exciting. So we are a specialty. Well, we're both general practitioners, so we can both treat anything, but we both have pursued extra training in our areas of passion. So
Okay.
for Dr. Silva, that's women's health, and for myself, it's mental health and cognitive wellness.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
for today, we'll really focus on the mental health piece, of which stress is so important. So, stress in the holidays, I have two main suggestions for dealing with it. And I apologize in advance because the first one you're going to roll your eyes and you're not going to like, which is mindfulness. And the reason people tend to rebel against it is because they're like, I have too much on my plate this time of year.
Mhm.
I personally really struggle when my doctors tell me, oh, just do some mindfulness. But
Oh gosh, yeah.
yeah,
Like,
but
what does
it
it even mean for,
exactly. But mindfulness, what I like to tell my patients, it's you are in the same place where your body is for 5 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
And so if you're forecasting onto your to-do list, your brain is not where your body is. So just for 5 minutes, your mind and your body in the same place. And that could be like sitting with a cup of tea at the end of the day, taking a couple deep breaths, or just
Mm,
checking in with your feelings, even. That all counts. It does not need to be profound. You don't need to go to a meditation class. It can be done just at home. Okay, I thought I was gonna sneeze, but I did not. All right. My second piece of advice, and this is like if you take one thing away, I really hope that you do this, is that sitting down right about now, right before the holiday season really kicks off, and think about what truly matters to you this season.
mm,
And then we're gonna set gentle boundaries to protect that. Like,
mm.
so for example, if your top priority is spending quality time with your family, um, like I'll take this recent past Thanksgiving. I love playing games. And I really wanted to do minute to win it games with my family,
Okay.
which are these little minute long challenges. They're really funny. And so we cut out a couple side dishes from our Thanksgiving meal to make more time to do the games joyfully.
Hmm.
Whereas if you were a foodie and the food was really what you valued and you enjoyed the cooking, maybe you'd go for that like complicated Brussels sprout dish because that's what's going to be special to you this holiday
Okay.
season.
Ah,
Um,
I
so
like
you
that.
can't have it all because you're going to be spread too thin. So think
Mhm.
about what parts give you the most joy and align with those and cut the fat, like cut the rest of it.
I love that. That is great advice. Yeah, just
Thank you.
heading into the holiday season, just really think about, what components are the most important and make time for that.
Yeah.
Get rid of other things to make it happen. Brilliant.
Thank you.
I love that. Um, so how in your thoughts, or your opinion, how can people enjoy holiday meals without the guilt, right? Or kind of find that balance so we're not feeling guilty and we're also not compromising our health, right, with the choices. Is there a way to strike a balance there?
Totally. Yeah, there's many ways. I mean, I'm just gonna offer like a few that I do myself, and I
Okay.
know Dr. Jeffrey also does. Just again, like focusing on balancing. We're creatures where we need balancing in our lives, in our meals, and our everything, right? Like so if we just have carbohydrates in our plate, then it's gonna be a recipe for high blood sugar and just immediate crash, and it's just not gonna be nice, right? So if we can enjoy our favorite holiday treats, like even the cookies and the cakes, like pies and everything like that we want to enjoy. We
Mhm,
want if we can pair them with something like fiber or protein or both.
mhm,
So that's like a way to avoid blood sugar spikes.
mm,
And
mm,
that's also just like going to maintain balance on our hormones and just like our overall mood. And instead of thinking like about what you can't have, think about what you can add. So things like more veggies, like Dr. Jeffrey was saying, maybe it's something like a Brussels sprout dish
Yeah. I am one
or
of
like
those
a
people
small
that loves
handful.
Brussels sprouts. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
they can be
appeals to
super
me.
yummy.
I love
Yeah,
them.
yeah, like I made a dish with like Brussels sprouts and bacon and like there you go. Like you have like yummy things like and they go together.
You're
Like
saying add
yeah,
things. Think about what we
yeah,
can add rather than what we're trying
exactly.
to avoid, right? So like
Exactly.
healthy, getting the veggies in, looking at,
Yeah.
like eating the maybe like for blood sugar, eating your vegetable. That's why mom always said, eat your vegetables first,
Hmm.
right? I
That's
think there was a
exactly it.
reason behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
it
And then
it helps.
it does. And then from a mental health perspective, it's about mindset. Like guilt
Mhm.
doesn't serve you. And so,
Mm-mm.
like, let's say you don't do anything that we've just talked about and you just have an indulgent meal, embrace it. It's the
Yeah.
holidays. Let it go and then focus on the next best choice. Like, I think the guilt over poor eating over the holidays is just as toxic as the poor eating itself.
Mm.
So
Do you
let it
see a lot of
go.
people feeling that way? I'd love to
Yeah.
know if from our audience, because I'm sure everyone here sees clients. Do you see people feel really bad about the choices they make?
Yeah, we see a lot of people on very restrictive, health-focused diets with
Okay.
good intentions. Like they want to live a long time, they want to be
Mhm.
well, but there's a lot of stress then around eating and food. And food, they're exactly right. Food can be harmful, and
Mhm.
food can be medicine, and there's a time and a place for that. But food can also be tradition and
Mhm.
connection, and holiday joy. And so I really, really believe in 80/20 or 90/10 or whatever ratio works for individuals.
Love that.
But the holidays are
That's
one of
such a
those times for the 10.
yeah.
However, you don't have to do that for every meal during the whole holiday season because then you're going to feel horrible at the end. And
Yes.
so
Horrible.
you pick your indulgences and then you have some regular meals too.
Yeah. So like, where do you feel like alcohol fits in? Just as an example. I know where it fits in for me. It doesn't exist pretty much because I cannot it just doesn't I can't metabolize it like I
Yeah.
used to. So I pretty much don't. I just don't go there. But I know for some people it's a real struggle, right?
Yeah.
And
I'll
it
talk about
can really impact how you feel mentally.
so I'll talk about the mental health component
Okay.
of the alcohol, and then I'm sure Dr. Silva can speak to how to minimize the
Yeah.
blood sugar impact. But like in terms of mental health and alcohol, I think it's important to know that first of all, as you all know, alcohol is a social lubricant. And so if you're in a tense family dynamic and you have that extra drink, it might enable you to say something that probably you shouldn't say. And so if you're going into a situation and you're feeling tense about it, that would be a time not to overindulge. And then the other thing is you all know your limits and you don't want to drink past that limit if you're going to feel yucky the next day. That being said, I think depending on what someone's health story is, there's a
Mhm.
space for alcohol during the holidays,
Mhm.
but you just want to stay kind of in what's safe, especially if you're driving, in what's
Oh,
safe if you're tempted to say something and you don't want to say it, and what's safe in terms of your energy for the next day.
really good points.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts,
I
Luciana?
like that. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but like the same as like if you were to eat like a whole piece of delicious chocolate cake, if you're
Yeah.
gonna drink, if you know that you're gonna drink some alcohol that night, or if you happen to be in a situation where that's gonna happen, then eat something. Have something in your in your belly before, and yes, make all the arrangements to like not drive and make sure that like you're in a place that like you're not gonna do anything like reckless or anything. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just like
Exactly.
having that's definitely gonna help out with your like blood sugar and just like also like taking care of your liver. I mean, although the alcohol is gonna do what it's gonna do. But it's
Exactly.
okay. It's going back to like that, like not feeling guilty and just enjoying the moment. If it's
Yeah.
like matter of tradition, like some people have like certain different drinks around like the table at that time of year, and it's just like, yeah, like if you can do it, then go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice. really, really solid. A lot of people do really struggle with that.
And I will, sorry, Leslie, but I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
just chime in and say that there's a whole growing world of non-alcoholic
Oh
options.
my gosh, thank you.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so if you choose not to imbibe, but still want to have that festive flair, or maybe
Mhm.
you can even do it like I love the harm reduction model, which I'll call out just since we're all
Oh,
practitioners
what is
here.
that?
So the harm reduction model means that let's say you want to have the experience of drinking 4 drinks, but you're going to feel yucky the next day.
Uh-huh.
Like the prohibition model is I'm going to have 0 drinks. Harm reduction is I'm going to have 2 cocktails and 2 mocktails.
Oh,
So you're just
I
doing a
like
little
that.
less.
Okay.
And with the mocktails, there's alcohol-free spirits, alcohol-free wines.
Mhm.
Um, I have a friend who puts edible glitter in her mocktails. Like
Ah,
the sky's the
I've
limit.
never
You can
seen
still have
that.
a beautiful drink.
Yeah,
And my one tip with the mocktails though is to watch how much sugar you're putting in
yeah.
it, because you can still
Yeah.
feel hungover from 4 sugary drinks even without
Oh
the
yeah.
alcohol.
Good
Oh.
point. Yeah, I personally find, like, sparkling water is my friend. You know? Like, we have a party to go to tomorrow. I might indulge, and this is, like, for me, kind of a rare occasion. I might indulge in a little glass of wine, maybe. We'll see. But for sure, sparkling water with lime or lemon. I know that is kind of boring, but, you've got something in your hand, you're yeah, and then I'll wake up and I won't feel like I got run over by a truck, which
Yeah.
is definitely a bonus. So,
Yeah.
Well, Leslie, this
That's
might be on the
exactly it.
overachiever train, but you can do the cutest little thing with sparkling water. If you put a little bit of water in the bottom of a glass and
uh-huh.
then you stick a rosemary sprig in it and tape
Ooh.
it so that it stays straight up, and then you put
Uh-huh.
it in the freezer. And then the ice that freezes at
Oh.
the bottom with the little rosemary Christmas tree sticking up, and then you fill it with seltzer, and it's really cute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to give that a try.
Did not make my list of holiday priorities, but it's super, super cute.
That's
And it's a way to
adorable.
make a mocktail really festive.
Okay, so you freeze just a little bit of water
Mhm.
at the
So
bottom
yeah,
of the glass.
you take the glass, you pour the water in,
Okay.
just a little bit. You
Yeah.
stick the rosemary sprig into the water, and then use tape to keep the sprig standing up straight.
Okay, right, because yeah, that makes
Yep.
sense. Oh,
And then
super
freeze it, and
fun.
then you can have this cute little Christmas tree in your plain old seltzer,
Oh,
and you'll feel really special.
fun. All right, guys, I'm doing that. I'm doing it.
That's
We have some rosemary sprigs here too, so easy peasy, right?
Mhm.
that sounds like
I'm gonna
something
bring
Dr. Jeffrey would do.
my own Christmas drink to my party tomorrow or to my friend's party. So, I love that. All right, so let's talk about,
Oh my gosh.
do you guys have one maybe small actionable tip that viewers can implement today, maybe? Just to ensure that they have not only a healthier, but also just a happier, more serene, joyful holiday season. What would you say?
So I would, again, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'm focusing a lot on diet today,
You
but just
don't?
like
You do not? Okay.
just like I would suggest people start their day with a protein packed breakfast.
Okay.
Like that would be like something that I would recommend. I'm sure like everybody knows this in this
I
realm,
know
but
it,
for
but
those
guess what? Don't always do it, right?
I
So, yeah,
know, right?
for reminding me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And like and protein
We
packed
all know
breakfast
it.
can be it can be
Yeah,
something
but we
like
don't
as
always
easy
do it.
as just like yeah, it can be as easy as adding like Greek yogurt like to your like berries or like chia pudding or
Mhm.
like having some eggs if you eat eggs or
Yeah.
just having some like a protein powder like even if it's like a fast like busy day that you just like need to get going. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean something like that is just like has been shown to be really beneficial for like I mean, even, like, when we were studying, like, before I used to have, like, an oatmeal breakfast with, like, some nuts, but, like, it wasn't, like, a lot of protein in it, and
Right.
I noticed, like, how my energy would, like, go down after, like, a few hours, and then I was like, "Okay, I need to eat again." with the protein-rich breakfast, you don't have that. Like, you can go for, like, 4
Okay.
hours, and you can, like, keep going
Yeah,
and just, like,
and
it's okay.
oatmeal is, I mean, I oatmeal's great, right? It's super tasty. I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but when I had my CGM on, was not my friend
It's
first
yeah.
thing in the morning, I'll tell you that.
It
It
lies
was
to
like,
you.
yeah, so that's, I guess that's another topic, right? Like
Yeah.
how, but yeah, I really, this is me, just kind of really had to revisit what I was eating first thing. Um,
Totally.
yeah, the
Yeah.
gluten-free toast with peanut butter and jelly was not cutting it at all. Like oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. So got rid of
Yeah.
that. But sometimes the oatmeal is just kind of a nice, warm, soothing thing to grab first thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it doesn't meet the protein, and I know everybody's different, but like doesn't do good things for my blood sugar, sadly.
Yeah.
You
So
can make
yeah,
it over
Exactly.
though. Dr. Silva, do you want to talk about like how you could do a little makeover on that oatmeal since Leslie sounds like she's craving it?
I
please.
mean, yeah,
I'm very
the
open. Yeah, I
oatmeal
know. It's funny because my husband just yesterday, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, hey, I'm gonna make some oatmeal. Want some? I'm like, not
nope.
really. And here's why. So yeah, please do
Yeah, I
share.
mean, right, you can definitely make your oatmeal protein filled, especially if you make it with, like you can make it with some yogurt, first of all, and
Mhm.
then also just adding some almond butter, or just, like I mean, peanut butter is a little less protein filled, or
Ooh,
rich, but, you can also add chia seeds and, like, walnuts and just, like, other nuts. It's just, like, the ratio that you have to make sure that it's, like,
okay,
correct, right? Like, make sure that you're not eating, like, a bunch of oatmeal and then, like, a little bit of nuts.
right.
It's mostly the nuts and seeds and less of the oatmeal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I did make, not to go off on a tangent here, but I did make peanut butter like energy balls.
Mm.
And they've
Mhm.
got but I need to use a CGM just to see because I was like, I wonder, I hope this isn't spiking. But it was like,
Yeah.
peanut butter, of course, no sugar, oatmeal, chia, flax, a little bit of
Yeah.
sugar. Don't know how that, again, everyone's different.
Mhm.
And yeah, the chocolate chips probably might not be like the best, but they're so good. So anyway,
So
Yeah.
good.
they're so
The peanut butter, almond butter thing, Dr. Silva and I studied together for 4 years. We did residency together. We see eye to eye on almost everything, but she's team almond butter, I'm team peanut butter. As a
okay.
naturopathic doctor, I'm right there with her on team almond butter, but personally, my heart goes out to peanut butter.
Okay, so almond butter, is, maybe a good swap if I wanna bump up the protein.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
but I
is.
do love that, like, just keep it in the freezer, grab it, on the go.
Yeah,
They certainly
totally.
taste good, feel good, but again, I don't know what it's really doing. Oh, hang on, we got a couple of comments, let's look at these. So fun, I love festive mocktail drinks, so I will try that. Yay. All right, that's awesome. And, yes, that's what I was thinking, Dr. Silva. My clients do forget the protein first thing in the morning during the holiday season. All
Totally.
right, super cool. Okay, all right. So, Dr. Sarah, what is your tip? So we're really good. I think we're good. Everyone's clear. Protein first thing. Like again, we know that, but it's super helpful to get that reminder. What is your big tip?
My big tip, and it's gonna be like Dr. Silva, I feel like a broken record, but right after you get off of this Facebook Live, sit down and take 5 minutes to write down the 5 things that matter to you most this holiday season.
Ooh,
Just do it. And
okay.
then you can look forward at your calendar and at your to-do list, and you can kind of it's like your business has a vision
Mhm.
statement, right? And what
Okay.
doesn't fit, you might get rid of. So same
Mhm.
thing. You look at your top 5 priorities, and then as you're looking forward at events, maybe there's one that would be a nice to have, but not a need to have, and you cut it so you can do more of what you love.
Okay. I love that.
And what you love can be bubble baths and personal time as
Hmm.
well. So like it doesn't all have to be about everyone else during the holiday season.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious, what are your top few, Sarah?
Very high on my list is the cookie situation.
Okay.
I am not kidding
I
you.
love
My
that.
stepmom and I,
Situation.
yeah, my stepmom and I egg each other on. We made over 2,000 a couple years ago.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
so you are not kidding.
I'm not kidding. This year we have
Okay.
piping bags and edible glitter. We've been watching the Great British Baking Show. It's going to get out of hand. But I'm going to try to rein it in using the tips I told you. Other than that,
awesome.
it's family time. All
Yeah.
all 4 of my siblings and I will be together this year, so that's really special.
Oh,
So
great.
having time
That's
for
rare.
games, for conversations, that's my other top priority.
I love that. And Luciana, what are your top things, your top priorities?
I would say honestly it's the family part of it.
Mhm.
Like I've been living in the US for 10 years and I've mostly been able to come back home for Christmas and that's like and if I'm not home like in Peru, I get to go to my fiance's home
Mhm.
and so that's also really nice and yeah,
Yeah.
just like spending time with them and like making time to like play games and make the tree like decorate the tree just right there. Like
Super fun.
all the little things that like remind me of like okay like I used to be a little girl and used to have this joy
Aw.
and like in these things like yeah I feel like that's the best about this season and like maybe getting to take some time off as well and just
Yeah.
enjoy myself
Oh yeah. You
and
guys,
see friends.
I hope you really do, since for those of you that joined us a little later, these 2 wonderful doctors just finished their residency. Was it September?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have been working really, really hard for many years. So I do hope that you have some really significant R&R. I think you said you're taking a week off. So I hope you have lots and lots of fun and yeah, just enjoy yourself, get some rest and relaxation. So yeah, I'll just say my priority is, I'm going to have my kiddos, which is, it's not super common these days to have everybody together. So really looking forward to that. And I love just being outside. So get a little skiing in. We'll be out west. Mine is always revolves around activity, like physical activity. So that's always top of my list. And the food as well. So those are top
Definitely.
3, right? Yeah, just to try to maintain a good sleep schedule as well, which I rarely skimp on sleep. Anyone that knows me, I don't skimp there ever. So, yeah. So, all right, guys. So, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. Gosh, it was so fun. So
It
fun.
was.
It was.
I loved every minute of this. Oh, and guys, I'm going to post a link really quick. Ooh, I don't know if that worked out so well. Let's see. Let me see if this link, you might have to copy and paste that link. Anyway, if you have any trouble and you would like to join me on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, 2 p.m. Central, I'm going to be doing a Q1 business planning workshop. So we're going to roll up our sleeves and help you to get things planned out for first quarter. All right, guys. So I actually don't know. I hope I copied and pasted that link, but it looks a little suspicious. So if you have any trouble, don't hesitate to email me, Lesli@lesliebytel.com. Actually, the link, the Facebook link actually looks like it's the full link. It's the YouTube one that looks like something went awry there. All right, guys. So anyway, please join me if you would like to get that business planned out for your first quarter so you can hit the ground running in January. If you have any issues signing up, don't hesitate to reach out. And thanks again to Dr. Sarah Jeffrey and Luciana Silva. Guys, I also, before I forget, do check them out. You've seen their website, www.ayanaturopathicmedicine.com. Check them out on their website. They have a brand new stress busting ebook. Is that right?
It is.
And
Yep. It's a quick ebook with some tips for how to manage stress during the holiday season and for the rest of the year as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think definitely go grab that. And so again, that's Aya Naturopathic Medicine.com. All right. And you can also, while you're there, learn more about their work. All right, everybody. Great having all of you. Thank you so very much for joining us. And we will see you again next week. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.